Welcome to TDEV class. My name is Tejiri. In today's tutorials, I'll be showing you how to configure Angular authentication with Laravel. In our Laravel application, I'll be using Laravel Sanctum and Breeze. Breeze help us to set the scaffold needed for the required authentication in Laravel, so you don't have to worry about that. But I won't be showing you how to configure Laravel and Angular to communicate with each other. To see how that is done, kindly refer to my previous video where I did that and showed you how to do that in detail. But in this video, I'll just be showing you how to set up the configuration. So I'm having just two routes in my application, which is the home route and the login route. Of course, the home route is the route users are redirected to upon successful authentication. This is my home route. It's just a basic HTML code without any JavaScript yet. And then this is my login route. This is my login form, and this is my style for that. So the first we'll be doing, I'll be heading over to my service. I'll be setting my base URL. Okay. So once you've done that, we'll be needing three functions. The first function we'll need is the login function, which handle the authentication, and then the logout function. This log out the user from the application, and then get user details function. Okay, so these three functions are very basic as they are. I will copy this code and paste it in here, and then I'll be passing in our body, which will be email and password. Okay, I don't want this, so I'll be getting rid of it. Then I'll pass in the email, set the type of string, password, set the type as string as well. Okay, this is supposed to be a post. Okay, so we'll be doing the same thing for the logout, except for the logout I'll be sending just an empty string, and then I'll set the endpoint to logout. Okay, do the same thing for this. This will be login. So for the get user endpoint, it's going to be API/user. Won't be passing anybody because it's a post request, it's a get request. So once you've done that, that's all we need to do. So the next thing, we'll be heading over to our home component. In the home component, I had coded my name into here. In a real life application, this is supposed to be fetched from the server, our Laravel server. So the first thing to do is I'll be setting a variable which I'll use to handle error messages. I'll set the type to string or null. Then I'll be creating a second one, user. This will hold our user information, and I'll set it to any or null. Then I'll create a constructor. This constructor will be calling our just created service, which is HTTP token service. Next is router. This will help to redirect user to the login page when they click the logout button. So the next thing I'll be implementing ng on init. The essence of that is to help initiate and call our endpoint once the form our application load. So I'll be calling the service.getUser subscribe and set. If it is successful, take the response and set it to user. Okay, otherwise if it fails, send the error to our error variable. Okay, so those are the two things we'll be creating. Then here I'll be calling our just created user service. So I'll be checking if this variable is not null. If it's not null, then display the user information here, which will be user.name. It's just the username. Otherwise, if there's an error, I want to see the error here. So I'll say if error message is not null. If it's not null, I'll create a span. I'll style it to color red. Then in it, I'll call the error message itself. In the error message, I need to point to the message. Okay, so let's head over to application. As you can see, it's coming out well. Sorry. Okay, so you see the user is unauthenticated. Of course, he's right. There's no way you can view a protected route from Laravel. This route is protected for only authenticated users. So the application, this error message is coming from our server. By the time you inspect your code, you're seeing, and you go to network tab and hit the refresh. You see it's returning our response is unauthenticated. So it's right. So let's go back to our code. So what we're supposed to do now to solve this problem, we'll create an interceptor. This interceptor will intercept to check if the user is authenticated. If not, if the user is not authenticated, we direct the user to the login page. So I'll say ng generate interceptor. I'll call it error inter, and then I'll be saving that in a folder called helper. Okay, so Once that is created for us, it's supposed to be here. So I'll just leave it the way it is, and then head. So what in our interceptor, first thing we need to do is we need to register our interceptor in our interceptor array. So to do that, I'll just call the interceptor and put it here. That's it. Then close this up. Head back to our interceptor to configure it. So we'll create a variable, or we're injecting the router package from Angular. This will reroute the user to login page once it checks and sees that the user is not authenticated. So the next thing we'll do, I'll be passing in a pipe. This pipe will check. This pipe will call catch error from rxjx. Then I'll pass in the error message with our callback function. Now this callback function will do the main check. So we're going to be using a JavaScript include, which will pass in json.pass. Then this will take in our error and check the status. So we're checking for error code 401 or 403. If it includes any of those, then our router dot navigate will redirect the user to login page. So in case if there's an error, the type of error will be error dot status code, error dot status, error dot, this will be here, error dot error status, or error dot status text, then return true error. So let's head back to our application to see if it's working fine. I'm missing something here. Let's go to, okay, so just a moment. Why am I getting this? It's not. It looks fine, but don't know why I'm getting this error. Okay, sorry, spelling mistake. So now the user is redirected to the login page. So if you try to access the home page, it redirects you back to the login page. So now that we've done that, let's continue. I'll head back to my login component and begin to make the necessary changes. So we'll be creating a variable that handle error message from the server. Set type to string or null. And then I'll call my constructor. This will call the various services needed. I need a form, so I'll call this login form. It's going to be form group. Don't forget to import reactive form module. So once you've done that, I'll be calling my service http token service. Next, I'll be calling my router. This will route the user to the home page once successful. And then my form builder. Once we've done that, I'll be implementing on init. The essence of this is to load my form. So on init takes in service. This call my login form, and then I'm going to build it. So we have the email field set to empty string, and then the password field set to null as well. So once we've done that, I can bind my form, my Angular reactive form here. So to do that, we say form group login form. Then you can call form control name, set type to email, same thing for password, set type to password. Then in my button, I'll be creating a click event here. This will call on submit function, which I'll create in a moment. So the submit function will for now return login form. I will deconstruct it. let me be sure the values are being sent here. So what I will do is I'll console log. Let me get a user information from the database. So this is going to be password. If you check your console log, you should see the user information. Sorry, values. Okay. All right, so you can see the information here. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to cut this, and I'll deconstruct to get my email and password. Right, so next thing we'll do is I'll call my login service and pass in email and password. Then subscribe. If successful, if the response is successful, redirect the user to home page. Otherwise, display the error message. Okay, so let's test it out. Now the error message, I want it to be displayed at the bottom of the screen. So what we'll do is I'll say if error message is not null, then display it here. Of course, I'll put it in a span as usual. And then I'll give it a call style. Red. So let's check. Unknown status. If we investigate our network tab, you will see the main reason why we're getting that error. Okay, so we're getting CSFR token mismatch. Let me console log this error. Okay, so now unknown status is still returned here. So while we're getting, if you go to your network tab and you click on your response from your server, you click on your network tab. I clear the page while inspecting our code, you click on the field request. If you look at the header, let's look at our header to be sure if all the required information are being set. If you look closely here, you will notice that our token is not being sent along with our request. and the reason for that is because of this code here. So I'm going to comment that and try again. Now this response on it means if you look at your network tab again, the reason for that is the response from the server is telling us that the record does not match. So to display, let me see if I could display that error. Something more descriptive. Okay, so it's not okay. I'll clear this and try again. Send our request. It's failing. If you look at the error message that is being returned from the server, it's trying to let us understand that the credentials does not match the record, right? So the reason for this is that we're entering wrong password. So let's enter the right password now. Voila. Now something is wrong. We have a new problem. The user is not fetching the user information from the database, and now it's redirecting us to the dashboard, which is not found. This is a bug on Laravel Sanctum. When you select API, it's not supposed to be redirecting you to dashboard. So for us to fix this, we'll have to head down to our Laravel application, open your app, HTTP, middleware, request, then look for redirect if authenticated. If you look at this code here, what's happening here is that is calling the dashboard from this home button. This is a variable pointing to the dashboard. So to fix that, we'll simply uncomment this. We'll comment this part of the code, and that will fix that error. So I'm going to try to hit that dashboard again, and this time we're getting a new error which says unauthenticated. And the reason for this is that if you head down to your env file to check if you are properly configuring your app, you will notice that Sanctum set full domain is not configured properly. It's supposed to be pointing to the same port as to your front end URL. If it's different, you'll be getting that error unauthenticated, even though you are sending in the right response and all. If you look at this header, you see the header information that is being sent. Say this is our token is being sent successfully, but why is the server returning this error is just because of this. So now that I've fixed that, if we try again, let me clear this and try again, enter the right password, and everything should be fine. As you can see, it's fetching the username and displaying it in our home screen, and it redirects us to the home. So one more thing I need to do is I need to put in our logout button, which is going to be in our home component. I'll put that here. I will just call button, I'll call it logout, and then it's going to have a click listener that listens to our logout function we created earlier. Okay, we're supposed to create this. So we'll create the logout function, and this would simply, like you already guessed, is going to call the logout function from our. So I'll just copy this and paste it here. Now, instead of fetching the user displaying the response into the user variable, we are going to route the user back to login page. So this will be login. Otherwise, it will display the error here why it's not working. So if you save that and let's try to hit the logout button, you see our logout works just fine. If you try to hit the home URL, it logs you out. They are not authenticated. Then if you authenticate, you enter the right credential, I'm guessing I'm entering the wrong information. Let's see the payload. Okay, yes, you see the password is not properly spelled. So enter the right information and we're getting our application is working just fine. So if this video have been helpful to you and you find this helpful and interesting, or you have any question, simply drop your question in the comment section below and I'll be very happy to answer them. Or you have a suggestion for a video you want me to do, kindly drop a comment in the comment section below. And don't forget to hit the thumbs up if you like my video, and most importantly, I really appreciate if you subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much and have a blessed day. Bye.